What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD Wednesday here, back here to play Zorcha. This is, of course, the premiere episode, the inaugural episode of The Road to Miles Morales. Did y'all like that intro?
Beautiful. Well done.
Y'all like the intro? You know what I'm saying?
Fire.
I like that. I honestly wish I spent a little more time with it, but I like how it came out. Simple, clean. It worked out. This is, of course, Road to Miles Morales, the weekly podcast series about any and all things Spider-Man, Miles Morales, as we head towards the release of course, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. With me, of course, my luxurious co-host from Road to PS5, the ArachKnight. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was just saying before we started recording that now it feels like a Saturday, even though it's a Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
Because we record Road to PS5 on Saturdays. It goes up on Sunday, but now this show will be recorded on Tuesdays and go up Saturday. There we go. All right, there we go. Math. I gotcha. Calendar, whatever. And the other host with us, of course, the slim, not shady one, at To Real Deathly. How are you doing, good sir? Why did I say at To Real Deathly?
Just fantastic. I'm doing great right now. How are you?
Why did I include your at?
That's all right. It's all right. Just a little shout out to my Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so. I don't know. All right. Whatever. It's all good. But of course, Road to Miles Morales, you can catch the show here on youtube.com/PlayStation as well as your favorite podcast service every Saturday by hitting the anchor link down below to find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, and any other major podcast service, or by just searching PlayStation podcast feed. To support the show, you can, of course, like and subscribe, as well as become a member of the channel by hitting the join button or the link below in the description. The Prince tier and the King tier are $1 and $5 respectively, giving you access to different channel badges, emotes, as well as shoutouts in all PSS content, just like the homies, Caleb Kaiser, Bashful Brody, the ArachKnight, and Owen as well. Even though Owen doesn't like Ghost of Tsushima, we're not going to talk about that. Follow us on other platforms such as Discord and Twitter down below in the description. Gentlemen, our first episode, we do have at least 2 news topics to get to. I'm honestly not sure on the length of how these episodes of Road to Miles Morales will go, so we'll just play it by ear. But I figured let's go into the first news bit here, of course. So I think I'm going to put this where I said, all right, let's get right into the news, but this is being recorded in a time capsule. Of course, I have once again conjured the hosts, and if I were to edit this correctly, I would have already introduced them. So it's the same 3 members, just a different time we are recording this, because we had some breaking news come out on Wednesday. They changed the actor for Peter Parker in Spider-Man Remastered, and I thought that it would be kind of crazy to put out episode 1 and not at least touch on this big thing. So I want to read a little bit on the blog. Again, link below in the description. I will link the blog post where you can read more in-depthly on all the changes for Spider-Man Remastered. But they say here, of course, one of the biggest changes is that Peter Parker did get a new actor. Let's read right here from the blog. They say, quote, "This does bring us to one of the bigger changes. In order to bring the best performances to players with our next generation Marvel Spider-Man games, we have recast the face of Peter Parker. We loved working with John Bubniak on the original game. However, to get a better match to Peter Parker / Spider-Man actor Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture, we have casted Ben Jordan to be the face model for Peter Parker on the PS5 console. He looks incredible in game, and Yuri's moving performances take on a new life." Gentlemen, how do we feel?
Dude, it feels like this Peter Parker should be back in high school. I look older than that Peter Parker, and I'm 20.
I certainly look older than him.
Yeah, and you're younger than than he is in canon.
I am.
Like,
I am.
And it I look that young when I was like 15.
Right.
It doesn't, like, Mary Jane looks like his mom.
Here's the thing too, is that, like, I was gonna say, look, if anyone was gonna get a redesign, right, I would love it to be Mary Jane, because I'm gonna keep it honest, I have never liked how MJ looked in Spider-Man PS4 ever. I always thought she looked very weird. I don't know if it was like I don't know. I just thought her voice and, like, the overall aesthetic just did not meld together. You know what I'm saying? At least for me personally.
Yeah, no, she she's definitely. I don't know. I think it's just like how her face is structured a little bit with her hair. Like if they change because in the Spider-Man PS4 Collector's Edition, you got an art book with alternate looks on MJ, and I will stand by this till my dying day. MJ looks better with long hair down. Like because her hair is like in a bun and it like kind of comes into bangs. It doesn't really match. Like it doesn't like feel very MJ to me. So that's like I agree with you. I don't think that she's very like just purely based on looks. It's Black Cat every day of the week in Spider-Man PS4. Just on look.
I did see a nice little Black Cat meme.
This is about to be crazy. Billy, how do you feel about this? Okay, because I thought you were at work. You weren't at work. I was trying to call you. Actually, I tried to call both of you guys midstream to no answer.
I was like, I was at sheep number 995. I think ArachKnight was asleep too.
I was asleep. I went to bed at like 6 in the morning.
We had over like 600 concurrents live on the stream of me just talking shit.
Damn.
But Billy, what are your thoughts? All right. Excuse me, not Billy. To real deathly, what are your thoughts here? You know what I'm saying?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, the reasoning behind changing it, sure, I guess. Yeah, that's cool. You want it to look more like Yuri, but now he looks more like a 16-year-old. It's not gonna like it's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna die, but not a fan.
I don't know. Like there are two areas that I am particularly not a fan of with this redesign. I'm not. My first point, I say this with a grain of salt because I am not someone who is very well antiquated with animation or like facial capture. So this comes from a point of speculation, and I could be wrong. So if anybody does know, I'd love to hear it. Like I'd love to hear like the truth behind it. But there are, to the extent of my knowledge, there are a lot of actors out there that do motion capture that don't look like their in-game counterparts. Like, yes. How do you do motion capture for like Nolan North and Nathan Drake? Nolan North kind of looks like Nathan Drake, but not like it's not like Nathan Fillion kind of levels of Nathan Drake,
right? Or
Tom Holland.
Indeed. I will second that. Indeed.
Or like Mark Wahlberg and Sully.
Without a mustache.
Without a motherfucker. But it's just like I need that stash back. But that's off topic. It's there. Motion capture is like just a series of dots on the major parts of movement on someone's face, and you can animate that to fit a certain shell, like someone's head, and like with some tweaking you can make it look authentic. I thought Peter Parker looked fine in PS4. Like,
he looked good.
I thought his motion capture was fine, his facial animations were good. Like, I thought it was solid. Like, I didn't see the issue or the need to recast him. Like, it feels. The best example that I've read about this is you get Captain America 1 and 2, right, with Chris Evans. Captain America 3, it's somebody else. It doesn't feel like Cap. Like, that's not Cap. But that's not Steve Rogers.
Right. Here's the thing, right, gentlemen? Here's the thing. Do you all... I assume you three know who Yuri Lowenthal is.
Yes.
Obviously. Yes. And what sorry, I worded that completely wrong. What he looks like. I mean,
yes.
what he looks like, right? Those listening, right? If you're driving the car, pull over, go into the median, pull on your hazards, just stop everything, right? Google Yuri Lowenthal. And then also Google John Bubniak, which was the original Peter Parker.
He tweeted out a spider and a heart saying, the emojis forever.
John Bubniak tweeted that?
Yeah.
You're fucking joking. Oh my.
I'll
Look how
send it
they
to you.
massacred my boy.
That is sad. Okay,
Yeah,
that's honestly really sad.
he tweeted out a picture of himself today, and
is tragic.
he looked sad.
That is some sad. Yo, that's damn. Truly, you hate to see it. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, wow, that really caught me off guard. But look, right? If you look at John Bubniak, right, and then you look at this new voice actor. I'm sorry, not voice actor. Excuse me. Actor that is just a visual actor, right? Ben Jordan. And that's what I think a lot of people on the timeline were like really confused about. Like they thought that like John Bubniak's face was Yuri Lowenthal's face, and it's like, no, guys, hold up, nope. We are still getting the voice of Yuri Lowenthal. It's actually still the motion captured motions of Yuri as well, right? It's just simply like if they were wearing a different Fortnite skin. That's exactly what this is, right? I think what they're saying here, right, is that Yuri looks more like Ben Jordan than Yuri looking like John Bubniak. I think is what they're getting at, right?
Yeah.
So for them to be able to go into depth and do the enhanced like facial animations and like the different like nuances that they can do with that motion capture data, perhaps like, you know, because Yuri doesn't look a lot like Ben Jordan, that Yuri doesn't look a lot like John Bubniak, perhaps that's why. Like maybe like for all we know, like maybe they tried to do John Bubniak's motion capture skin, if you will, and it just wasn't working out. Like maybe it was like, I mean, I don't know, could that have been fixed? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But guys, like, listen, can I be honest with you, gentlemen? Can I be honest?
Absolutely.
Can I be honest? I know I was very critical on the stream this morning. As of this recording,
Is it growing
that
on
stream,
you?
guys, it's kind of growing on me. Listen, I would love for him to go back, but hey, listen, I think once I replay Spider-Man Remastered and just get it in my head that, all right, this is Peter, let the past die, kill it if you have to, you know what I'm saying? I think we can move on from this and be okay. I do still think that if they're not going to go back to the original actor, which they're not going to at this point, right? I highly doubt it. I do wish that they make him look a little bit more older, which could be simply done. You know what I'm saying? Add some cracks on his forehead, perhaps. Not cracks like too deep, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe some bags under his eyes, just a little bit of bags under his eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because this homie don't look like a grad student. He was like a freshman.
Well, yeah,
We
like a high
need to
school
age
freshman.
him. Yeah, we need to age him a little bit. Perhaps that, you know what? Not even perhaps. That hairline needs to be pushed back a little bit more. All right, that hairline's a little bit too fresh.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
this
saying?
this guy looks like this Peter Parker looks like he'd ask you to homecoming and then forget.
Yeah, and maybe you know what else I was thinking too? Maybe when we see his overall stature and height, as opposed to just mostly the face and the upper torso we got in the little cutscene that we got, maybe it'll play off better, you know? But I mean, hey, I think maybe I'm being a little bit, you know, too positive. Not positive. We'll say hopeful, right?
All right.
Like maybe I play it and I still hate it, but I don't know. I don't hate it like I did when I first saw it. Is what I'm saying.
There are two things that I need in this Peter, just minor changes, if we're gonna keep the same face.
Okay, what we got?
In one of the pieces of concept art, there was Peter that had like almost like his hair had more volume and it was messier, and he had a stubble. You change the hair a little bit. You add a few like cracks or like, you know, some lines in the forehead, something, and a little bit of stubble, and I think it'll be fine. Just Peter Parker should have stubble. He is no longer a high school kid. He was a high school student for 30 issues in Amazing Spider-Man. Get over it.
Yeah, and I mean like he's a grad student.
Yeah, he's 23.
He's supposed to be grown. Billy, how would you improve this character model?
Phew.
Or like, are you just not convinced at all yet? slash ever.
I mean, as of right now, there's no way to be convinced. But honestly, just hit him with the good old MCU de-aging slash aging ray gun and just age him by a solid 10 years. No, I agree with what ArachKnight said. There's just no other way to do it.
It's just
You have to age him with some facial hair. Adding volume to his hair would definitely help. I mean, I haven't seen that concept art, so it's hard. But
let me find it. Like, it's solid.
I think we need to age him by like not 10. 10's aggressive. I think maybe like a 5-year aging. Just a little bit. Just a little bit so he plays off to 23. You know what I'm saying? Because people honestly, I've been seeing on the timeline saying that like a lot of people thought that the original Peter didn't look 23 and he looked older than 23. Which I don't know if I just never thought about it that way. But I think now I kind of see what they're saying. Like Peter looks like Peter in Spider-Man PS4 looks like to me right now off top the dome like 25, 26.
Which is fine. Like I'm 20 and I look older than that. Like this is the concept art. The one on the right,
22-year-old Joel.
That looks like it does feel kind of Joel, doesn't it?
It looks like an actor. I forgot his name, but y'all would know if I showed you him.
Yeah.
I forgot what he said recently.
That like
okay.
That like hair and a little bit of stubble, and I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
Like
I can rock with that. Okay.
It's just like should I reference the image I sent earlier? Should I reference that?
Absolutely.
Oh, but I mean that's not part of it. Of course, this is Road to Miles Morales. Before you hit on that meme that was sent in the chat, of course, it's gonna be really weird if he doesn't look 23 in the game with this new model, and he's trying to mentor Miles.
Yeah, Miles looks like 23 in the trailer and like the gameplay. Did you see those pictures of Miles? Like he looks older than 15, and like if you swap the ages, if you told me Miles is 23 and Peter's 15, I would have believed it with this new actor.
Yeah.
Like he looks very, very young. Mm-hmm. And that's not something I vibe with because Black Cat is like in her mid to late 20s and she's flirting with this Peter. Like there was a scene in Ultimate Spider-Man where Black Cat flirted with Spider-Man for a while. And they were on a rooftop and they had some wine. And Black Cat is like, hey, let's take off our masks and, like, do the nasty. And Peter's like, all right, bet. So Peter takes off his mask, and Black Cat is like, how old are you? And then she throws up on his crotch and then runs. That's not a joke. I will send the image.
Maybe that's a new enhanced DLC chapter.
They're gonna the city that never sleeps.
City that he's getting a whole new meaning. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Sheesh, man.
Yeah, she bails. She bails on him real quick.
Oh man, I mean, look, guys, like I don't know. I just don't particularly hate it. Like I think if I play through Spider-Man Remastered, I think I can be easily just okay with this. I think I could be okay with this. I think. But of course, also before we get out of this segment, they added the Amazing Spider-Man suit.
Oh, it looks very, very good in my opinion.
It looks amazing in the game, right? I was gonna say that it looks incredible.
I'm honestly gonna use it for a little bit. Like,
it looks hot.
I also noticed in the new pictures the advanced suit's red is a little deeper. It's a bit of a darker red, which I appreciate because during bright segments like like when the sun's going down, like sunset moments in Spider-Man PS4, he looks like a basketball.
It looks pale.
Yeah, it looked like orange.
Yeah.
Which I didn't rock with. Like I didn't use I hated the advanced suit for like about a year and a half.
I love the advanced suit. That's my favorite Spider-Man suit. I know I'm biased because I love PlayStation, but like I fucking love that suit.
Oh, now I like it. Like I've like I have an advanced suit. Like
oh yeah, you do.
I have one, and like I changed it to make the red darker when I bought it.
That's hot.
So
that's hot.
I like if the advanced suit's good. Like I like it when the red is like not too dark because then it kind of offsets everything. Like it feels like too cherry, but like with like a nice red and a dark blue with the white contrasts very very nicely in my opinion. But I'm glad they changed that. The graphical upgrades look incredible. Like the ray tracing and the reflections, everything looks very very solid. Like it looks like a great remaster. It looks definitely worth the $20 that I like that they're asking for it. Like because this feels like a decent graphical overhaul. Like it doesn't feel like just we changed up some textures a little bit and we worked on a few things here and there. It looks like they like revamped it like significantly.
Yeah. What do you think, Billy? Are you gonna not get the Spider-Man remaster?
Oh no, honestly, my refund was already sent through.
Ooh.
Oh man, yeah, I hate to see.
You know,
Oh.
Yeah, I hate
that
to see
the
it.
fire.
you just gotta hit them with that same energy.
The disrespect, like that.
They'll see
bad?
they'll see me outside the studio with a picket sign and a fork. You know what I'm saying?
A fork, not a pitchfork, just a fork.
Not a pitchfork, just a regular fork. I don't want to seem too dangerous.
Bring back Boobniak. Bring back
people tried to get that trending.
Yeah, I know.
I, as much as I'm not a huge fan of it at the current moment, like I will definitely still play it. Just
Oh no, absolutely.
yeah, just for those like new suits. I don't care much for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit particularly, but that Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit that suit has grown on me a lot throughout the years.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is a mockery.
It's very safe. It's like there's nothing wrong with it particularly. It's just not one of my favorites. Like it's very very safe.
I think what I'll end on, right, is that Insomniac Games were very spicy on Twitter.
Oh, they were
Wednesday.
annoyed.
Yo,
Ooh.
they were spicy, my boys. They were just copy and pasting the exact same replies to every ad that they got. They did that all day today. You know what I'm saying? They were saying countless times. It also came out in the replies that what I kind of thought was happening was that, of course, you know, this new character model, I don't think it was brought up yet, but looks a lot like Tom Holland, right?
Yeah.
So I initially thought, oh my god, is this some like Sony BS where Sony Pictures came to them and was like, yo, you gotta make that homie look like Tom Holland if you're not gonna, you know, do a game that's connected to the MCU or whatever, like gotta make it kind of look similar. I thought, honestly, I wasn't sure if that was true, but I could certainly see that being true, right? But they came out and said, no, this was a strictly Insomniac development decision. This is 100% them, and they really stuck by their guns. There was that quote by
Brian Intihar.
thank you, Brian Intihar. Should we read that?
Yeah.
I can pull up real quick. Yeah. Let me when y'all fill air while I find this.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand the refund thing. Like Deathly. Like I understand not liking the face model, but we don't see a ton of Peter Parker. We see enough of him to feel like he's a part of the story narratively, but a lot of the time he's behind a mask.
But it's just too much for me, you know? I know who it is behind that mask. I know exactly who it is. And it's Walmart Tom Holland.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. My refund has not been sent through.
dude, oh yeah, this
cap.
cap. I was gonna say, it's like you
cap.
sound really like Harry Osborn, like in the Raimi trilogy. Is like just you hate the Spider-Man.
Hate the Spider-Man. All right,
You know, I'm
Brian,
somewhat of a capper myself.
Brian Entar, of course, creative director at Insomniac Games, says, quote, today's news about the new Peter Parker face model has surprised some of you, and we at Insomniac totally understand your reaction. Heck, it even took me a while to get used to Peter's new look. But as we discussed the franchise's future and moving to the PS5, it quickly became apparent that delivering even more believable looking characters made finding a better facial match for actor Yuri Lowenthal, who we all love as Peter, a necessity. We care as much about this character as your attachment to him. So please know we didn't make this decision/change lightly. As we did throughout the development of Marvel Spider-Man, we will continue to read your comments, listen, and always be looking for ways to improve every facet of the game. At the same time, I hope you can trust us that this decision is what we feel is the best for the future of the franchise and our upcoming goals for this beloved Marvel character. What I want to highlight here was them saying this, but as we discussed the franchise's future and moving to the PS5, it quickly became apparent that delivering even more believable looking characters made finding a better facial match for Yuri Lowenthal, who we all love as Peter, a necessity. I really think that they just needed an actor that looked more like Yuri. And just, as much as we loved and, got to grow with, I'm such an asshole, I forgot his name again. I'm looking at the blog. God damn it. Bubniak. John Bubniak?
Yes, I believe so.
Is it John Bubniak?
Yes.
Bring back Bubniak.
Yeah, you're the one who chanted it.
John Bubniak, right? Like, as much as we, fell in love with Spider-Man PS4 and liked that whole performance, especially the end bit, like, are you kidding me? Come on now. Like, insane. I think all we have is what they said, and I feel like they wouldn't do this. I feel like no one would do this if it weren't for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just hoping that, all right, they are doubling down on this change. They are going to do it. Whether how the reaction is day one of just announcing it today, or how it goes when we beat Remastered in the future. But it's a double down. They are committing to this, and I just hope that they are right in terms of it is going to pay off in terms of how the visual animations look overall for Yuri Lowenthal. I think it's going to be cool. I don't know.
We'll live.
I don't know. Yeah. Also, who gives a shit? Like we're still gonna live. It's just a visual change. It's not like they're changing the voice. If they were to change the voice actor, that'd be way worse. That'd be a billion times worse if they changed the voice actor. If it wasn't Yuri anymore. Because at its core, the heart and soul of Spider-Man PS4 is still Yuri Lowenthal's performance. Like, that's still him moving as Peter Parker. That's still him doing the quips as Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still Yuri, and that's still there. It's just gonna look different. And also, this is really only going to affect cutscenes because he's in the suit 80% of the game. I don't know. Is it weird? Yes, it's weird, but I think we'll all learn to accept it. I hope, and you know what? Maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I assume the majority of people will just move on and we'll just, remember this as when they had the shift because we got a better product in the end. That's all, gentlemen. I don't know.
I'm willing to walk in with an open mind. Like, I'm gonna play the game regardless. It's not the end of the world. I don't like it at the current juncture, but that doesn't mean that I won't grow to like it. He does look a little too young in my opinion, but that can be changed if they bother at all. If not, well, I guess that's just something we're gonna have to get used to. Because Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out soon, and I am pretty confident we'll see Peter Parker there. And Spider-Man 2 is any day now. We'll hear more news about it.
Oof,
are we calling Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man PS5?
Spider-Man PS5 kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
It's difficult because now people are using this remaster as Spider-Man PS5, which makes sense. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 PS5, I think it's gonna. I don't know. I think it won't be called Spider-Man 2. I think it's gonna be a subtitled name, but I digress.
Yeah.
That's for another Road 2 series in the future. To Real Deathly, do you have any thoughts before we throw it to our past selves in the other alternate timeline that recorded this yesterday? No, two days ago.
No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday.
Holy shit.
It was yesterday. Yeah.
Time really do be hitting different.
Wow, that was yesterday? What? All right. To Real Deathly, do you have any last thoughts before I throw it back to your past self?
No, I'm just curious to see if they do update this new face, or if they take all the backlash and go back, which I don't think they will. But I am curious to see if they update this new face to make him look a little bit older.
Yeah. We shall see. We'll, of course, follow this development as it unfolds on the future Road to Miles Morales episodes. And now I'll throw it back to our alternate selves that already lived the day, which was yesterday. Because Sony confirmed a few different things here about upgrading from the Spider-Man PS4 version of the game to the PS5. It's not going to be a free upgrade. We got some info here, and I believe some quotes from that I remember. Actually, we don't have any quotes. They basically just lay it out that, with your Spider-Man PS4 copy, you will not be able to upgrade it for free to the PS5 version, Spider-Man Remastered. In a similar vein that in Miles Morales, you will be able to go from PS4 to PS5 for free. You will only be able to get Spider-Man Remastered via the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, or if you buy Miles Morales for $50 on PS4, right? You can pay just $20 on PS5 to get access to Spider-Man Remastered as well. And so they currently have no plans to make it a standalone buy. I think personally they will eventually in the future. But I'll pass it on to ArachKnight. ArachKnight, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about this whole debacle? You know what I'm saying? But not being able to get a free upgrade to Spider-Man PS5.
Well, when you think about it, Spider-Man PS4 came out on, what was it, September 6th, 2018, which is over 2 years from release date to next generation console. And I think $20 like is a solid price for a remaster, because people are mad about this, but I didn't hear anybody complain about Last of Us Remastered, which is $40 and was about a year and a half from PS5 release or PS4 release.
Think about that side of it.
I mean, I hear you on that, right? But that was back in 2014, right? And while, those are, of course, comparable things that you can compare, I think the time disparity is what makes that whole thing a whole different can of worms. Because, like, this generation, this gen transition from PS4 to PS5, you know what I'm saying? We're seeing a lot of free upgrades. A lot of, hey, if you buy Marvel's Avengers, you know what I'm saying, that'll be a free upgrade to PS5 with all the bells and whistles, all of the enhancements and stuff like that. Same with Cyberpunk, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of big games that are doing that free upgrade. So I definitely think that, for sure, just in terms of looking at the overall gaming landscape, it seems like they're not really reading the room in that way, and they're just wanting to make money, which, I mean, hey, it is what it is. And, like, they know that we're going to pay for that. I'm going to buy it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even that is necessarily $20. It's that you still have to buy Miles Morales at this point to be able to pay that extra $20 to get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Not having a standalone is something I don't understand particularly, but the free upgrade thing is with Cyberpunk and Avengers. Avengers came out in September. Cyberpunk's coming out in November, both of which are months from release, just a few months.
Oh, okay. So you're saying, like, because these games are pretty fresh,
yeah,
that they're warranted for a free upgrade.
Yeah, because it makes people feel more confident. So, like, if I buy this on PS4, I'm gonna have to rebuy it on PS5, and that pushes people away. It's like, I'll wait, or I'll just skip the game overall. But when you have a game like Spider-Man PS4 that came out years before the next console, I don't understand why people feel the entitlement that I should get a free upgrade for a game that's over 2 years old. Like, it's a little aged. Like, $20 I feel like isn't a bad deal. Not being able to buy it independently, like if I don't want Miles Morales and I just want Spider-Man PS4 remastered, that is something I don't agree with particularly. But I don't
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, hypothetically speaking, if they came out tomorrow, I was like, hey, look, we talked to the studio, whatever. We're gonna put out Miles Remastered, Spider-Man Remastered, for $20 standalone if you want to purchase just that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then that kind of undermines the whole concept of the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales, which I don't think that they could do at this point. I think it'll be a few months down the road, we'll be able to buy Spider-Man Remastered standalone. You know what I'm saying? But to real, what do you think about this whole thing? What are your thoughts? Do you feel like it should have been for free. What are your thoughts?
It's hard. I've gone back and forth, honestly, like within just this recording, like twice, because originally I just thought like exactly pretty much what ArachKnight said, right? Like you have the newer games that are going to be a free transfer to PS5. That's expected, right? This game is a little bit older, and then from those screenshots that I saw that you retweeted on Twitter, it looks like a really big revamp, at least visually. So I think personally, I think it's worth that $20. I think it's worth paying for it.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at right now. I just think that it's worth it. Whether or not people are angry about it is a whole other thing. People are going to be angry about everything, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, like I think it'd be just a better all like. I think they would receive a little bit less flack. I think they would still get flack, but like a little bit less if you were able to just buy remastered without having to buy miles
100%.
in any shape, form, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be better. And maybe if they they have pushed Spider-Man remastered as like sort of like the Game of the Year edition of Spider-Man PS4, where it does come with all the DLC that was in City That Never Sleeps, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there are visual enhancements to the game. There is ray tracing in the game. You know, and like I'm also partial on that because like I know these, like it's not like doing any of that work is easy. Particularly, like I don't know a lot about development. Like I know next to nothing about development, but there's definitely some work that was put into Spider-Man Remastered, right? So like of course it's like I understand that having to pay your employees and different stuff like that. But I do kind of wish that it was a free upgrade, to be honest. Like I think at the end of the day, I think it would have been a lot better if it was free. I think everyone can probably like agree with that. But I'm still with you guys on the team of like, it seems like they are really doubling down on it, and they put a lot of work and effort into the remaster. You know what I'm saying? Like with having ray tracing and different stuff like that in it. Upgraded, texture models. Actually, they have the new rendered Peter Parker character model in Spider-Man Remastered that they're going to be using in Spider-Man 2. So that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of work in there, but also what came out. Oh wait, no, we're touching that. That's that. If you start your save file on Miles Morales on PS4, you will be able to transfer that to the PS5. But for some odd reason, you can't do that with the Spider-Man Remastered. I guess that wasn't on the dock, but how do we feel about that, boys? You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts?
It's odd because on one hand, I want all of my unlocks that I've had on PS4. I have everything unlocked, obviously, as somebody should by now. But there is some fun about just starting fresh. Maybe you do something a little bit different. Maybe you upgrade one thing first rather than doing what you did before. It could be unlocking a new can of fun rather than a can of worms. Starting fresh on PS5.
Okay, I see that. We got cans of worms going. ArachKnight, how do you feel about not being able to carry over your save from PS4 to PS5?
What's the point? Like, it's like
damn, yo, ArachKnight's
coming at the
spicy
throat.
today. He's
no,
spicy.
it's just like, what's the point? It's like, I mean, you at least for me. Okay, I'm bringing Last of Us Remastered back into the conversation.
Let's do it.
I played Last of Us 1. Great game. Buy the remaster on PS4. I have the story complete. Am I gonna play the story again, like New Game Plus or fresh, or if I buy a whole ass game, I'm gonna want to play it again. And if you just like, I don't understand the point of it's like, oh, I want all of my stuff back. Then get it back. It's not hard to collect backpacks and to do all that. Like, I don't understand the issues. Like, oh, I don't want to level up. I don't understand the issue. Like stop being such a baby about it.
Damn! To put the like devil's advocate whole thing, right? If we're gonna compare it to Last of Us Remastered, right? You couldn't play your PS3 copy of Last of Us on PS4.
No, you had to buy a $40 version.
Yeah. You have to buy it again, right? But with the PS4 to PS5 now, we are seeing a lot of games on PS4 be playable. I mean, I mean, from what Ryan says, 99% of PS4 games will be able to be playable on PS5 day one, right? And that includes Spider-Man PS4. That's a big thing too that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about, is that you can still play your like digital or physical copy of Spider-Man PS4 on PS5, right? I don't know if that save carries over. I don't think it does, but that is a thing too. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you don't want to pay for remastered, you can still play your PS4 version on PS5 with no enhancements, right?
Yeah.
But I do think like with the whole concept of like how on PS3 to PS4 you weren't able to play your PS3 games on you weren't able to play your PS3 games on PS4, right?
Right.
So I think with that being said, I think at that point you couple that with the whole different time, it makes sense. All right, during that time we had no problem playing for GTA 5 again or Last of Us again. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a new console, right?
Yeah,
but with
I
this,
think I bought GTA immediately.
Yeah, and like with this gen, like one of the big focal points is that like, hey, our libraries from PS4 aren't being left behind. Like they are going to be coming with us, right? So with that being said, why aren't the saves? That's like my thing too. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I still think it's weird. Like it's not an end all be all for me because I'm still gonna replay remaster. I'm still gonna love it just as much as the first time I played it. Of course, maybe even more. You know what I'm saying? But I think above all else, like I just think they're making weird choices here. I just think it's just weird for me.
For myself particularly, like I've been in love with Spider-Man PS4 since release. Like I bought 2 copies of the collector's edition. I've 100% of the game multiple times on multiple save files. So I particularly
Flex on them. Jesus, man, flex on them.
I mean, Spider-Man's my favorite hero by far. It's not even a contest. That's why I particularly don't have an issue with playing the game again. Like that's why I don't really care all that much, is because I've enjoyed my time with the game. Like a lot of the fun is going through everything and going through the backpacks and seeing Peter's history. If you get rid of the side content, other than the side missions that come in on every new playthrough, you get rid of a little bit of the heart that comes with the game, because this is 8 years of Peter's life that you see through tidbits. Like, oh, the menu from Peter and MJ's very first date, or Aunt May's wheat cakes recipe. Like, you get a little more immersed in the world seeing these tidbits of Spider-Man history. Like the police towers, yeah, those there's nothing with them. It's just a mini game, but you can skip those. You just have to swing to them, and you can disable the puzzle. Just hit R1 or whatever, and it does it for you, and then you just go on to the next one, which is what I did in future playthroughs, because it's like I know how to do it. I just don't want to do it again. The only thing you're losing out on is like I have to web swing from point to point. It's like that's kind of a big chunk of the game. It's fun, and if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
Overall, like I totally hear your point. I just think above those, like I don't think it's like that egregious. I just think it's weird. I guess that's just where I'm at. I think it's like it's an odd choice. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But if you wanted to pre-order Miles Morales, they did unlock that for PS4, of course. And also, what's really funny is that they I think have something where you can start preloading the PS4 and PS5 version on November 5th, but theoretically no one's gonna have a PS5 on November 5th, so preloading launch games is gonna be
it's gonna be a little bit hard.
I'll be the only
right.
one.
Like,
I'll call GameStop and see if I can get them to start get it going.
Hey.
What I thought would have been a really, really cool incentive to have people buy PlayStation 5s off of PlayStation's official website was if like you were able to preload different games onto your console. You know what I'm saying? And like pre-purchase them already and have them preloaded before it gets to you. I think like how you can preload like software on like a PC, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know at least with Macs you can preload like Final Cut if you want to, or like Logic Pro onto your Mac when you buy it online. I think that that'll be a cool way to still have like a preload thing on PS5. But yep, if you want to pre-order it, it's available now on PS4, of course, only unless you have a PS5. Unless Travis Scott is able to preload fucking Spider. God damn it.
Yeah, I
Travis
just
Scott's gonna be the
mentioned
one.
that. Yeah, he's gonna be the
Yes.
only one.
The only homie. Oh man, Travis Scott. Well, that is pretty much all the news here this week involving Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man as a whole. But on the first inaugural episode, right, I figured let's just, start at the core, at the heart of what this game is going to be, who this game is centering around, the title of the game, Miles Morales himself, right? So I laid out a few things, and I specifically cherry-picked, of course, Surreal Deathly and ArachKnight because, myself, I have mainly been exposed to Miles Morales with the Spider-Man PS4 game, as well as Into the Spider-Verse, of course. And those are really the only two facets that my knowledge of Miles Morales is built upon. You know what I'm saying? I know he has a long comic book lineage that, of course, you both have info on and different stuff like that. So I think with our combined forces, I think we can really do a nice "Who is Miles Morales" episode and go from there as well.
I'd like to lead out there. I will not compare my knowledge to ArachKnight. All right, that's
I mean, it's above zero.
It's definitely
That's
above
the thing.
zero.
Exactly.
Definitely, but like only by
You know
a
what
few
I'm saying?
points. I gotta just make sure I can't gas myself up like that. My ego will get too big, and then
I mean, call me Circle K, 'cause I'll gas you up. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You know what I'm saying? But do we want to just tackle it just bullet point by bullet point? You know what I'm saying? And perhaps ArachKnight can just interject with any info that he has. You know what I'm saying? I think that could work out, right, gentlemen?
that would work out.
Yeah,
famously.
Of course.
You know what? Let's just start it out here. And we do have a separate episode in the future that is going to go over Miles Morales' specific arc in the Spider-Man games, like his specific arc that I think differs in some cases with the core comic book origin. But as far as I'm aware, this is definitely the comic canon main Morales origin story. So of course Morales was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York City. Oh wait, we're all from New York.
We are all from New York.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shout out Flushing.
Yeah. Look at that. Shout out Flushing. He was born in Brooklyn, New York City. The then 13-year-old son of an African American father and a Puerto Rican mother, Axel Alonso has described Miles as an intelligent nerd with an aptitude for science similar to his predecessor, Peter Parker. And we do have an episode coming up that will compare both Peter and Miles. But I do feel like in this specific day and age that it was very wise of them to make a standalone Miles game. You know what I'm saying? Because did you guys see those clips online and on Twitter of people reacting to seeing the Puerto Rican flag during the
I did.
gameplay segments? Like, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't react like too hard when I saw it. I was like, oh, sup? Like, I was like, oh, snap. Yo, look, Puerto Rico was good. You know what I'm saying? I just like a quick little shout out, but like, it definitely in hindsight, it's definitely cool as hell. You know, especially Billy being a Puerto Rican.
Shout out.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out. ArachKnight. Wait, what the fuck are you again? I forgot.
Ecuadorian.
What the fuck are you? Oh, shout
Ecuadorian.
out
There it
Ecuador.
is. I forgot.
shout out
I forgot.
One of my best friends is from Ecuador.
You love to see it.
You'll love to see it.
Shout out
But
Hispanic culture.
I guess do y'all have any thoughts on like, this kind of emphasized, of course coming with Miles Morales being Hispanic, of course.
I just think that the message that they've put out, specifically with Spider-Verse, anyone can wear the mask, is just absolutely beautiful. And I saw something on Twitter. He wasn't wearing the Miles suit. He was wearing the Peter suit. But it was a black guy in a store that was wearing the Peter suit without the mask on, and a little boy just came up to him and was like, "Oh my God, it's Spider-Man!" Like he didn't care who was underneath the mask. And I just think that their message is getting through.
Personally, I've been so excited for this show ever since Miles Morales got announced. It's like Spider-Man has had such a profound impact in my life, like as a as in my like from what I like in comic books to what I like in film and what I like in individuals, like in people, like my heroes, like it all started with Spider-Man. Like my parents love telling this story. I was 2 years old, and we were living in New York, and we went to go see Spider-Man in theaters. And I walked in there, like, liking Spider-Man, like, a kid that likes superheroes, like any other, like most kids. And I walked out a completely different person. Like I wanted to crawl on the walls, and I wanted to like sit on my dad's shoulders and pretend I was web swinging, and it was changed from there. And from the rest of my life, from that point, like I have always been in love with the character and the world surrounding Spider-Man. Like, so I'm so excited to talk about Miles Morales and Peter Parker and the world surrounding these characters that have shaped my life. Like, so it's. Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
No,
No, I was just gonna say that I resonate with that as well, because I've, just like you, always been a Spider-Man fan since I was a kid. It's always been my favorite hero. And I've had this painting in my room of just a profile shot of Peter Parker, like wearing the mask. And my uncle had made it for me, and he told me just last year or the year before that he was going to just paint a profile of me. But then he figured, like I wouldn't like that as a kid, so he just painted Spider-Man over it. And that just feels really cool, because it makes me feel like I'm Spider-Man. And I know I'm saying absolutely. That as a 21-year-old man, but still, that's just the impact that Spider-Man has on my life.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Like, I still get excited whenever I get to wear a Spider-Man costume.
Same.
Whenever sometimes I'll just chill out in my room with like I have a few masks. Like I have the PS4 mask, I have an Ultimate Spider-Man mask, I have a Raimi mask. And sometimes I'll just chill out in my room with a Spider-Man mask on, like listening to music or something.
Remind me to show you after the show. A couple of years ago, I wore a Spider-Man costume to work for Halloween.
Oh yeah,
It was nice.
I've done that.
One time, I don't know why I told this story. One time I was drunk as hell.
Here we go. As all good stories start.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, I was drunk as hell in the club, right, with all my friends one time, and it was Halloween, right? And I'm just sipping the drink, chilling, whatever. I look over, I see Spider-Man PS4, like the white spider suit. I go over, I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking Spider-Man. I'm like, yo, what'd it do? And like he was telling me that, yo, like he has a platinum in the game and all this good stuff, whatever, like big fan, whatever. And we took a picture, and then I posted it on Twitter, and I added, oh my god, no, Kevin. Oh no, no, Yuri Lowenthal. There we go. I added Yuri Lowenthal. Like, yo, bro, you were lit at the club last night. What'd it do, man? And he totally went along with it. In the reply, like he was like, oh man, like that probably was like the thwip, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Good times. Shout out to Yuri though.
Yeah, shout out to Yuri.
Big fan. I forgot the actor that plays Miles. Crap. I know I've heard his name. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But ArachKnight, if you
Spider-Verse
want,
or PS4?
in PS4.
Yeah, PS4. I don't remember.
I can look it up right now, but ArachKnight, if you want to take on that second paragraph, then by all means, while I look up that intel real quick.
So, like with this episode, we're going to be centered a lot around Morales' origins, like his pre-Spider-Verse, and then we may touch on how Spider-Verse influenced the character, because to those that aren't very well acquainted with Miles, who got his start in 2011 after Peter Parker died in the Ultimate Universe, like his story's changed a little bit, just like tidbits, but the major changes come into his personality. He acquired his superhuman abilities from a spider bite at his Uncle Aaron's house. And Aaron and his father have a difficult relationship because, Aaron Davis, to those who aren't acquainted, is the Prowler, a career criminal and a Spider-Man villain. So it like, I don't know. It's just I'm sorry. I'm just still kind of excited to talk about all this stuff. Like I don't.
No,
really,
I feel you.
I don't really get to talk about Spider-Man history very much.
Was Aaron brought up in the original Spider-Man PS4 game? I forget.
He might have been in just like a line, like a throwaway line or something.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't anything significant.
Yeah. I do want to know if they introduce Aaron in like a bigger way, because they kind of have to, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I wonder how that's going to play out. Spoiler alert for Spider-Man PS4 if you haven't played it, which if you're watching this, I don't know how you have not played the game, but I digress. With Jefferson dying, in Spider-Man PS4. I wonder how that's all going to play out with just having Uncle Aaron, and not having his brother there.
I was still like when Miles' dad died, I was like, oh.
Yeah, bro.
That was heavy.
That was heavy. That was heavy stuff. Heavy stuff.
And it's also very interesting because in the comics, originally Miles' mom died.
Really?
I did not know that.
Yeah, she.
Okay.
So the Venom symbiote took control of, from the extent of my memory, just a normal passerby, and Miles went to go stop him. And the symbiote was in the hospital where Miles' mom worked. And she tried to protect the people in there, and then the cops started shooting the symbiote. One of the cops missed and hit Mrs. Morales. And she died in Miles' arms, telling him to never tell his father who he is because his father hates, vigilantes and like those with powers.
Right.
So Miles watched his mom die in his arms and, couldn't save her, and then he quit being Spider-Man for about a year.
Interesting.
My entire body is
Dang,
covered
I
in
didn't even
goosebumps right now. I just want y'all to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. And I do like how they're doing a lot of cool things, at least with his mom in the new game, with her running for, was it mayor, I think? Is it mayor or is it a different position?
I think it was
Pretty sure it's
mayor. Yeah. At least city council.
Yeah, some government role, which I think is gonna be interesting too, like taking up like her father's mantle in a way of that type of vein. I think it's gonna be interesting. Definitely gonna be interesting. But yeah, so within, I know like there's obviously like a difference here with Miles from Spider-Man PS4 getting his Spider Bite at Feast, right? Off of, oh, my memory's kind of vague. Do you remember specifically? It was like, wasn't he like lifting something?
Yeah, he was
like
lifting boxes.
Yes.
And the spider was original. Like, we first saw the spider on Mary Jane, who didn't notice. And then when Mary Jane visited Feast, the spider, jumped off of her. And then Miles picked up some boxes, got bit, and then we got that mid-credits scene.
That was nice. I loved that.
Was that when Peter thought that Miles wasn't gonna take off his pants?
Or something. There was going to be a puberty conversation that Peter was not comfortable with.
Yeah, so that's obviously a different story than Miles just being at Aaron's house and getting bit from that standpoint. So, which is also different from Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Which he would just bit in the sewers, right?
Yeah, he was bit
line.
while spray painting with Aaron.
Yeah. With him, but not as part of it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. But I think I personally think it's a good idea that they're having their own twist on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Spider-Man PS4 is its own universe, and it's even had some crossover with the comic stuff. I know of during Spider-Geddon, I think is what that whole event was called in the comics.
Well, there was Spider-Verse, and then Spider-Geddon.
Yeah, which like the I forgot what universe the Spider-Man PS4 universe is called, like which like Earth is whatever. But I know that
it's nothing simple. Like a lot of those like side Earths, like I know the Raimi Spider-Man one is like Earth 16. It's long.
I got
Like
it. So Spider-Man PS4.
Oh my bad. Earth 96283.
Interesting. Spider-Man PS4 is Earth 1048.
Yeah.
Is where that one is chilling at.
Like the Ultimate Universe when it was still a thing was 1610. I know they're thinking about bringing it back, but so the Ultimate Universe got like destroyed in Secret Wars 2015, like with the incursion. Like they kind of just melded 1610 and 616, but by melded I mean they got rid of just about everything other than Miles. Like, because for those who aren't familiar, forgive my language, the Ultimate Universe is fucking weird.
I hate to see it.
Like,
it is weird in like a bad way.
Bad weird. Everything other than the Spider-Man stories in Ultimate kind of suck, and they're very strange, and they're not very good. It's like Captain America's a dick. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have an incestuous relationship.
Oh.
Wolverine watched them do the nasty one time.
Didn't take Logan as a watcher.
DLC, you know what I'm saying?
Ugh. No, yeah, the Ultimate Universe like kind of sucked.
Yeah, that's weird.
Ultimatum, which is where I got my old username from, was a weird storyline. The Blob ate the Wasp when she drowned, and then it was a weird time. Daredevil drowned. It was weird. Like
it was a weird time.
Like Ultimatum for just a quick thing is Magneto got pissed and then created a huge flood that drowned New York. It was bad. A lot of heroes died in Ultimatum.
At least I do like how, like, you know, the way you just described, what was it? That was the Ultimate universe?
Ultimate.
Yeah, like that being so unique and different. Like, I do hope that, you know, and I feel like overall, Spider-Man PS4 displayed that Insomniac really does want to take different liberties with the Spider-Man lore while still staying true to like some of like the core fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think like overall that's kind of what we'll get here, and we already see how, you know, there's some changes in Spider-Man, in Miles' story from the Spider-Man PS4 universe. So it would be cool to see like what other things they kind of switch around and everything and do all that. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like, of course, like the death of Ben, right, is Peter's motivation,
right,
in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those like defining deaths that really builds Peter Parker up to be a hero, right?
Yeah.
In Spider-Verse, actually, it was on while I was hanging out at my friend's house a few days ago, but the same when like during that movie when Aaron dies, you know, Peter goes, hey, for me it was Ben, and then for Spider-Gwen, like, hey, it was my best friend. Like, there's always a death that ends up being a huge struggle for them to overcome, and they're defined in a different context and truly become a hero beyond that point, right? So, like, do you think we have seen that? Like, do you think Miles' dad is that for him in this game?
Absolutely. It's with basing it off of Peter Parker. Like, Peter in the original comics wasn't like a soft boy. Like, he wasn't like, I no disrespect to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but he wasn't like just like the innocent wallflower kind of like he was a wallflower and he was angry about it. Like, to quote him directly, like, he's like, the only two people in the world that have always taken care of me, like Uncle Ben and Aunt May, the rest of the world can go hang. Like, he didn't care. Like, he just before Uncle Ben, like, the only thing he was concerned about is making money as Spider-Man, like with his abilities and with his strength. Like he wrestled and he went on live TV, and when he went to the Fantastic Four, he was like, how much do you guys get paid? And then they're like, we don't get paid. And then he was like, bye. So, but Miles was just like a normal kid. Like he was intelligent, not to Peter's level, but still intelligent. Like, and he was capable. He was just a kid trying to do, a kid just being a kid. And in the comics, a big thing that motivated him is that he had his spider powers for 6 months before Peter Parker died. And he didn't do anything. And Miles blames himself for a while. It's like, if I had just had the courage to do something, Peter Parker might still be alive.
Interesting. Does Peter know that he has powers?
No.
In that 6 months?
Peter doesn't know Miles exists until until after he comes back from the dead. Because he comes back from the dead.
Oh, that's
Because comic book.
Yeah,
that's
well,
quite interesting.
So in the Ultimate Universe, the thing that the genetic modification that allows the spiders to give these powers is called the Oz formula. And the spider that bit Peter was one of the only spiders that had the Oz formula working to a degree, and Peter Parker's genetic makeup is the only reason that it was able to work the way it did. Like, Peter got really lucky. And so Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, attempted to give himself the Oz, well, he gave himself the Oz formula, but turned into the Green Goblin, as everybody reacts differently. So they were trying to replicate the same experiments on different spiders to replicate Peter's powers, and Miles is the only other one that it worked on. And it was accidental because Aaron Davis picked it up while looting Oscorp, and a spider crawled into his bag.
Which then he goes home.
Yeah.
Miles is there. Miles gets bit.
And then that genetic modification trying to recreate the spider is where you get the venom blast and the camouflage ability, right?
Yeah, like everybody has different kinds of powers. Like with the spider bite, like Peter Parker has the spider sense and enhanced strength. Not Ben Reilly. Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man of 2099, doesn't have a spider sense, but his reaction time, for lack of a better phrase, is faster than Peter Parker's. So he can see enemy attacks coming in slower,
but it's not
and then move around them. Yeah, and he moves faster.
Okay, that's dope. That is really cool.
Miles has the spider sense, but isn't as strong, and he has the venom blast, which is a bioelectric attack, which he can, right. And he can also go invisible. Like every spider hero has their own set of powers, and then you get into the clones, and then that's a little weird. Like I know one of the clones, Kane, can have these like sharp bone-like extensions from his wrist, and he impales enemies with it. It's cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
A lot of spiders.
I did want to go over those powers and abilities separately in a second, but I guess to kind of tie up a bow on like Miles's origin, right? Like, is there anything that we missed? Like, I know one thing that I forgot to put on here that I'm sure you two can enlighten me on, is Genki. Is that his name?
Yeah, Genki Lee. That's his homeboy.
Yeah. Shed some light on that, because we did see him in the Miles Morales gameplay during the PS5 showcase.
ArachKnight definitely knows more about Genki's, personality, origin, whatever. All I know is that is what Ned is inspired by.
Yeah, which I don't get why they tied it to Peter.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that when they clearly want to or introduce Miles, or maybe they don't want to introduce him. Maybe that was just a throwaway line from Aaron Davis in Homecoming.
No, there's no way.
Miles definitely exists.
Yeah.
So why they would make Peter's best friend a spitting image of Genki, beyond me.
I like definitely think we'll see like a Peter death in the MCU and then like Miles.
I don't know. It's just
I don't know.
it. I don't think we're gonna see a Peter death. Like,
Alright.
it's.
I think
I think it's gonna be just like Spider-Man's a legacy character. Whether that's a good or bad thing is up to your interpretation, but he has a legacy. He's had a legacy for decades. And seeing Miles like take up the mantle of Spider-Man doesn't mean that he has to be the only Spider-Man. Just because Peter Parker died originally doesn't mean that he needs to be dead all the time. We have Miles Morales and Spider-Man in PS4. We have it in the comics currently. We kind of had it in Spider-Verse before, then the other Spider-Man left.
Your family will come back, and then Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, like we have instances of Spider-Men coexisting.
I like the idea of coexisting rather than having to have that death.
Because Peter Parker shouldn't need to be dead for Miles to have a motivation. Because there are other things that motivate Miles to be a hero. Like, if you just center it around Peter Parker, then you kind of take away from Miles' own dynamic. Because, the thing that I've been focusing on a lot, that I've been noticing a lot, is the be greater and to be yourself, which is very Miles and Peter. It doesn't you don't need to pick one. You can have a favorite, but you don't need to have one. They're not mutually exclusive. Peter Parker is a very different character than Miles Morales.
Sorry, I was gonna lie. Those like where you're pulling that from. The tagline for Spider-Man PS4 is be greater, and then in the Miles Morales trailer at the end of it, we see be greater, and then it goes into the Miles is like that kind of like graffiti-esque type of writing where it says be yourself after be greater. You know what I'm saying? So that's where he was getting that from. Like, it's the tagline for both those games.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always nice, in my opinion, to have something to compare and contrast from in reference to these heroes. Like I just mentioned, Peter Parker, his whole character, if I had to put it into a sentence, is after a mistake that he didn't understand the ramifications from at that moment. From that moment forward, he carries the entire weight of the world on his shoulders for the rest of his life. From Uncle Ben's death onward, that Peter Parker carries the weight of the world on his shoulders every single day. Like, he feels an overwhelming need of responsibility to the point of depression, to the point of wanting to die at points. There have been lines in the comic where Peter's like, maybe I should just let one of them shoot me and not move out of the way. Because his life has been ruined by Spider-Man. Like, there have been a lot of moments where Peter's life has been absolutely destroyed.
That's the dark irony of the character.
Yeah, like, he will give anything and everything to be a hero, even if he has to go down swinging. Like, Miles feels that sense of responsibility, but it's a different kind. Like, he feels the responsibility for other people and to do good and be good, but it's not the same way. He doesn't cope the same way that Peter Parker does through their tragedies. They meet through tragedy and they form a relationship from that tragedy, but Miles carries it in a different way than Peter does. Peter cracks jokes and Peter does all that, but at his core, Peter is almost bound to this responsibility and can't get away from it, while Miles is working his way around it and working with it instead of letting it kind of be his core fundamental characteristic.
I'm so glad I put you on Road to Miles Morales, because I don't know shit about that. So, love to see that. Beautiful. Yeah, definitely.
No.
Is there something specific from his comic book origin? Sorry, I hit the mic. from his comic book origin that you want in Miles Morales? Like, and I'll ask both of you that. Like, is there one thing that that we haven't seen yet in Spider-Man PS4 the game that we want highlighted for Miles in this game?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is something I really enjoy seeing in legacy characters is how they overcome, because the issue with a lot of legacy characters is, how do I be as good as the original? Spider-Verse covered it pretty well, in my opinion, like with a lot of imagery and cinematography on how Miles perceives himself compared to the late great Peter Parker of that universe. Like, how do these legacy characters not only fill the shoes of the predecessor, but how do they become their own, for lack of a better term, flavor of that character? Like Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne, Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Like, how do these characters fill the shoes but still have their own identity to the character, which we got, like I said, like we got a lot of in Spider-Verse. Like, he wanted to be like Peter. He wore the costume. Like in the comics, which Spider-Verse took from directly, Miles wore a Halloween store version of Peter Parker's costume while starting to fight crime, and everybody called it tacky because Peter Parker had just died. And so then Spider-Verse had Miles make his own suit. In the comic books, Nick Fury gave Miles a suit, but the sense of identity and the sense of individualism while carrying on the Spider-Man mantle is something I'm very excited to see Miles go through and develop. Like, how did he get a suit? Because at the end of Spider-Man PS4's DLC, he just wore one of Peter's masks. Are we gonna see Miles slowly gravitate towards his own kind of flow in a way? Because his movements are different, his web swing is different, his attacks are different. He's a different character, but narratively, how do you convey that? And I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
I do wonder if he's gonna start off in like a Peter Parker Spider-Man suit, and then like eventually he gets his own suit, similar to how the Spider-Man PS4 started, where like you're in the classic suit and then he gets the advanced suit.
Yeah.
A few hours in. 6 7. To real, is there anything in specific in the Miles whole lore that you want, like any aspect of Miles that's from like a different medium that you want to see in the game?
I just want to start out. Number one, I loved that ArachKnight. That was perfectly said, beautiful. But there's nothing like overwhelming that I'm looking forward to, but the two little details that I just need personally are, one, Miles' personality to break through the screen, which would be completely opposite from what we saw from him in Spider-Man PS4, which, as I've said a lot of times, I just feel like he's just a black version of Peter Parker. And then when it comes to the fighting style, the original the Spider-Man PS4 fighting style feels a lot like Arkham, and I love that. But when I play as Miles, I want that fighting style to actually feel different. Because as you guys said, he's not as strong as Peter. He has a different fighting style than him. He has a whole different personality, and I want that to show in his fighting style. I want his personality to bleed through into his fighting style, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I hear that. And like, at least when I was looking at the Miles Morales gameplay, which I've looked at it like a few times, but I haven't really gone in depth with it and gone like frame by frame. But I do think that like he has a very distinct looking movement style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like perhaps like I know he did that I think twice in the gameplay where like he did like this huge like energy blast thing towards like a big group of enemies.
Yeah.
So like I think how they're gonna do it is like if fighting as Peter Parker in Spider-Man PS4 is like very methodical, very combo-esque base, very much Arkham style, like what Tarul, wow, I blacked out. Holy God. Tarul definitely said, you know what I'm saying? I think like with Miles, I think he'll fight in a similar vein of like, you know how when you have two snakes, one's an adult, one's like a little, you know, younger snake, that the younger snake is more dangerous because he doesn't know how to like mitigate his power, if you will, and like he doesn't really know. Yeah, like same exact deal where they're a lot more you know, free will with their power as opposed to like an older, you know, scorpion or whatever. I think that's what we'll kind of get. Like I think we're gonna get more like flashy combat things and more like you know, forward damage stuff as opposed to like precision with like Spider-Man. How and by Spider-Man I mean with Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like more like like we'll get kind of less methodical of a gameplay style and more like, I think more of like a power type of style, but we'll see. Speaking. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say is you can definitely see a confidence in the difference just in the web swinging between Miles and Peter. Like Miles is a lot more floaty for like he spins a little more, he like, you know, his from web to web he moves in an unexperienced way because, you know, this is like a year, his first year as Spider-Man. Well, Peter had been Spider-Man for 8 years in Spider-Man PS4, and Peter moves in a way that's very routine. Like you run the same track every day and you know where to go and what to do and how to do it. And you see that on the wall running and in the corner, like, you know, like when you're running on the side of a building and then you hit like, you hold like circle and he webs to the side and swings and runs on the other side of the building, like that. Like with Miles, I expect something a little clumsier. Like, fun fact, I'm sure this fact's been regurgitated to death, but in Into the Spider-Verse, Miles was animated at 12 frames a second, while Peter and the rest of the Spider-Men were animated at 24 frames a second to seem smoother. And at the end of the movie, when Miles finally gets his groove and becomes Spider-Man, he's animated at a full 24 frames per second to make him feel smoother and in tune with the rest of them.
And then you also have when they first go to the I forget if they actually had like a fun name for it. I'm gonna just call it the Peter Cave, call it the Spider Cave, whatever. When they first show up to Aunt May's house, and he's looking up into Peter's suit, you know, his head is a little bit shorter, somewhere around the chest to neck area. And then when he goes there to make his own suit, he's right at head level because he's ready. Like his reflection is matched with Peter's mask when he's looking at the suit rather than being at chest level.
Yeah, he looks up to it and then only to make eye contact. He's leveled with it.
Definitely. So, I think that was a pretty thorough discussion on Miles' origin. I think as a character for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. But while of course having a different origin from Peter, he's also gonna have different powers and abilities from Peter as well. As what ArachKnight said, the Spire Bite, you know, may give you different abilities, and it all just depends on the person and their genetic makeup, right? So he does have seemingly what Peter has in terms of superhuman strength, speed, reflexes, and durability, and all that stuff, which I would consider pretty much like Peter Parker as well, in a vein. That's pretty similar. He does have something that we did see in the gameplay, which is this camouflage ability, which is near invisibility as well, which at least in the gameplay, like he was able to cloak, if you will, or go full, you know, non-C mode in the middle of like a combat thing. So that's gonna be really interesting to see if like it because there wasn't a direct line of sight with Miles, that if they aren't looking straight at Miles, you know, are they gonna be able to just not see him, or when they see Miles go cloak, is that when it's gonna be a little bit less effective? I'm really interested to see how that works out. But he does have that. He has, of course, Spire Sense as well. Pretty typical. Venom Blast, which we have seen a few times in the gameplay as well. That I think it's gonna be used a lot in terms of like different combos and everything, and we'll see how that all works out in the full game. Wall crawling and energy blast, which I think is what we saw were like the really big blast that like when the gameplay started, you know, during the PS5 showcase stuff that we saw a few weeks back. Like that was when the beat dropped, number one, but like it was a massive explosion. So like I think like that's what that's referring to. Could be wrong on that, but is there any other abilities that I don't know of right now that you want to see in the full game that Miles has, or is this pretty much like the overall kind of rundown of what we're looking at?
No, yeah, it's a thorough rundown.
I like it though. I like it because like there's definitely like a lot of stuff that is I feel like gonna play into how Miles will feel different than Peter. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we're gonna get a lot of that for sure in this game. And like even though it's built off of the bones of Spider-Man PS4, I think there's gonna be a lot of different ways that they're gonna make him feel different overall. So I'm definitely excited to see that. And I think one thing that I didn't bring up that I wanted to see from like Spider-Verse Miles into Spider-Man PS4 Miles, which I think off of the gameplay, I think we're gonna get that. But the first one that wasn't shown in the gameplay too heavily, but kind of was like alluded to, was like what Real was saying in terms of like Miles gotta have a little bit more sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like I need him to have a little bit more of a personality, and like maybe honestly, maybe he's always been designed to have that. Maybe we just didn't see it that much in Spider-Man PS4, just because we never saw like Miles in his own domain, in his own like territory, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? Like his whole side of things, we like
That's
didn't
fair.
really see that. We just saw him reacting to Peter Parker stuff, you know. So I think maybe we'll be able to see more of that. And the other thing was, oh my god, I forgot. No, I didn't. I'm good. The soundtrack, right? Like I need that soundtrack to be like a Spider-Verse level of soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? Which I think we will get.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool with. Yeah, for sure. But to end off, we had some interesting facts here. That you know, honestly, if Terrell or ArachKnight wants to read a few of them, maybe we can do popcorn style, gentlemen.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? I'll start with Terrell. Give me a fun fact. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna
pick anyone you choose.
I'm gonna pick numero 5. Because
Okay.
especially in a time right now where you have how do I put this lightly? A moron running the country. It's great. It's just great to have such an important character like Miles to be inspired by somebody as honorable, you know, as somebody who really like inspired a lot of people in the country to be greater than themselves, Barack Obama. It's great to see that was at least one of the inspirations, as well as Danny Glover appearing in the Spider-Man pajamas in the episode of Community. That was also alluded to in Spider-Verse in Aaron's apartment. And then Axel Alonso, aforementioned in the beginning of the episode, is the editor-in-chief at Marvel at the time. He is also biracial with Hispanic blood, just like Marvel. So it's great to see that these
Just
were
like
the
Miles,
three,
not
you know, inspirations.
All of Marvel.
Hispanic blood, just like Marvel.
Did I say
Yeah.
just like Marvel?
Yeah.
Just like Marvel. Every single character in Marvel has Hispanic blood, just in case you didn't know.
You'll love to see it. Oh man, yeah. Do you think we get a little like nod to Danny Glover in Miles? Gotta get a little something, right?
I'm sure we
A little
will.
tease.
Little something.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe Miles has a similar Spider-Man pajamas. You know what I'm saying? That he wears. He was a
Yeah.
big fan of Peter. You know, so wouldn't be out of the question. But ArachKnight, give me another fun fact.
Let's talk about a suit a little bit. So, let's talk about the most popular version of the suit, which I believe to be the Spider-Verse version. Like, we've touched on it a little bit, on how, like, in Spider-Verse, if you haven't seen it, Go see it. It's an amazing film. It's one of my favorite films. He takes one of Peter's suits from the spider cave and just spray paints over it with his own design and his own logo. It feels very him. It feels very appropriate for the Miles of that story and everything that he's learned, and he takes tidbits from everybody in his life, which we see in the like What's Up Danger like scene. Like it feels great. It's a great suit to have. In the comics, however, like he wore a Halloween version of the Peter Parker suit for a while. Not too long, but for a little bit. And he really didn't know what to do, but that caught the attention of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Nick Fury himself made a suit and, gave it to Miles with his own identity and his own web shooters. And there's a difference. Like, the suit that we saw in Miles Morales is the comic book suit, not the Spider-Verse suit. But it's still a nice suit. Like, it's still really good. It's very, very clean. It's definitely in top 10 for me. But I hope I'm sure they will, and I hope they do touch on a little more of Miles's personality, like kind of spices him up than just being, Peter Parker with spicy blood.
Spicy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I need dark meat. I can't just have seasoned white chicken.
Oof.
Think I'm saying, y'all? Think I'm saying? Y'all know.
I get what you're saying, but we're not about to insult some chicken breast. Chicken breast.
No, I mean,
be
hey,
slapping.
Listen. I love me some chicken breast. I love me some Peter Parker. 10 out of 10. Big fan. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But to comment on the Into the Spider-Verse suit, there's a rumor going around, y'all.
Oh, I saw that.
So we have two pre-order suits. Okay, we have seen one of them. The other one we have not seen yet. Is rumored that one is going to be the Spider-Verse suit, which I pray, because I used legit only the advanced suit in Spider-Man PS4 because I have a weird thing where like I want to wear like the default canon suit going on in the story. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really like to wear like different, variations of the like Spider-Man suits in like Spider-Man PS4 or like in Batman as well. Like I like to just, play the, when I'm playing through the story, I want to be like fully immersed and like, okay, like this is what he would wear, right? This would make me change my mind and do the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go get a quick
100%.
drink. I already finished my water bottle.
Oh yeah, by all means, go ahead. By all means, because I'll read the next one. But yeah, like there's rumor going around that's what the other suit is for pre-order, and like I love the Miles Morales suit that we have right now. I think it's fire in the game. It looks very, very cool, but I would like that Spider-Man Miles Morales suit just a little bit more. I guess I'll touch on some more additional powers that he has. It says here that this is perhaps one of the most exciting things about the new Spider-Man. Aside from web shooting, oh wait, no. Oh, okay, that's just at the never mind. That's at the Blu-ray touchdown. Just kidding, I won't read that. Let's read how he was conceptualized. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, it was on a bike ride while on his bike. I think him being Bendis, yes. So after he attended a Marvel retreat, Brian Michael Bendis wondered what would happen if Peter Parker died and gave birth to Miles. Not like him himself, but like he gave birth to the thought of Miles Morales post a Peter Parker hypothetical death. So then, along with artist Sarah Pichelli, Brian created the 13-year-old young boy, son of an African-American father and Puerto Rican mother. He first appeared in the Spider-Man comics 2011, and has since then become a fan favorite. So, ride your bike. Maybe you'll come up with a good idea. You know what I'm saying? For sure. I guess there's only two more that we gotta cover. So, by all means, Terrell, you want to cover one of them. You get Marvel. I mean, Miles has ties with S.H.I.E.L.D. or
Honestly,
Shamik Moore.
Honestly, I feel like we did touch on Marvel's Miles's ties with Shield. There is just one little detail in there that we didn't cover. So that might be a little good detail to close on. So I'm gonna go with the prediction.
Okay, here we go.
5 years ago, Shamik Moore, as you know, the actor that voiced Miles Morales in Spider-Verse, he wrote, "I am Miles Morales" in his journal because he connected with the character. He still has this journal and mentioned it to the filmmakers during his audition. That's crazy.
That's dope.
That's insane.
That is fire. Like, because you gotta imagine, right? Like, if you're one of the directors or producers for casting this movie, right? And someone pulls up with a journal that was dated 5 years ago or however long it was, saying "I am Miles Morales," dude, how do you not pick him?
Yeah, you can't.
You know
You
what
need
I'm saying?
somebody that has the love for the character, and clearly Shamik Moore has it.
Yeah. Big fan. And the actor for Miles Morales is, I think it's pronounced Najee Jeter. There's a D in there. I think it's silent. I'm gonna say Najee Jeter. I think that's his name. So he's, of course, the voice actor for Miles Morales in Spider-Man PS4. Not Shamik Moore, but I'm excited. Yeah.
I did say Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You said Spider-Verse, so you whatever. You're all good for sure. I'm excited though. I think it's gonna be great. I don't know. Okay, I don't think ArachKnight has returned with his water. So
well,
to real,
I
why don't
can
you
add
just
in
go
a little
over the shield thing?
little anecdote
Yeah,
that relates to this last fact right here.
Go ahead.
Completely unrelated to Miles as a character, but nevertheless, a couple years before Civil War was shot and released in 2016, Tom Holland was asked on red carpet. They asked him what character would you want to play? And he's like, I would love to play Spider-Man. But that's probably 10 years down the line if I would be able to. But I would really just love to be able to. 2 years later, there he is.
I hope that after this third Spider-Man movie in the MCU, we get college years Spider-Man and do a trilogy of that, right? And then during that trilogy, they introduce Miles. I think that would be fire. Just talking about the MCU stuff.
That would be nice.
Hello.
Read me the last. Oh wait, no. Has ArachKnight returned?
I've returned.
He has returned with
A
vengeance.
saturated glass of water.
I am hydrated.
Love to see it. So we went over Shamik Moore's stuff about saying "I am Miles Morales" in his journal and stuff like that. But there is a Shield section that you went over the majority of it, but I guess there was one thing that we forgot to include in this whole thing.
Not that we had forgotten to include. It just wasn't pertinent to what ArachKnight was saying. He was talking about how Nick Fury had given him the suit, but in the fact, the one detail that I was looking at was the fact that his dad was a Shield agent.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
You guys
What
gotta
if
catch
he's a
up.
Shield agent in Spider-Man PS4?
Oh.
And that just goes unnoticed until Miles discovers it in his new game. Bro, that'd be kind of fire.
That would be interesting. I mean, there is that little tidbit of the Avengers being in San Francisco.
Yeah, but that could
Yeah.
also be West Coast Avengers. They don't. From my memory, they don't really touch on Shield.
I'm just saying that
I
they
feel like there was something
they could jump from that to being connected to the Avengers being in San Francisco to the Avengers being connected with Shield at that point if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something Shield related in Spider-Man PS4. Am I wrong on that? A little Easter egg or something like that, or collectible?
I don't
not sure.
remember.
The only out of Spider-Man reference that I remember besides that one was how he got Matt Murdock's business card.
Yeah.
I can't remember him talking any info about Shield.
Yeah, you can see Nelson and Murdoch in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh my god, dude. I would cry if there's a trilogy of small hour and a half, 2-hour DLCs that's about Hell's Kitchen. Even though, okay, would I want that for Spider-Man 2 or would I want that for Miles?
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, never mind. I want that for Miles too.
Well, no, Peter and Matt were pretty good friends, and are pretty good friends. Like, especially in the '90s, like they after the death of Karen Page, like Matt looked to Peter for advice on how to deal with it and how to cope, and they talked about it. And Peter was like, yeah, like things like this happen. And it's horrible and it's tragic, but there are people out there that need you, and that motivated Matt to keep going. Like, Peter and Matt have been there for each other for years. So if there's gonna be a Daredevil story, it needs to be with Peter.
Can I just say I would love a Daredevil game?
Oh, absolutely. That's a day one. That's on site. That is
absolute cop. How they would work with the visuals to like immerse the character in his sonic hearing abilities. We're getting off track of Miles, but how they would work that would be very interesting. But I would love a Daredevil game set in that universe. It obviously doesn't have to be the same tone. You could have a much darker tone like the Netflix series, but I would love for those two universes of stories to be linked.
I'm gonna go on a quick tangent, very quick. There was a Daredevil game that was planned, and it was going to be an open world game in New York, like in Hell's Kitchen. The Daredevil's radar sense was gonna be toggable, like Batman's detective vision. So that's it. It was in development. It got canceled. I'm still angry about it.
I'm looking at it right now. I want to see who was developing it.
It was an older game. It was gonna be.
Oh, back in like 2003. Okay.
Yeah.
So after Ben Affleck's movie. Oh, that was gonna be a bad game.
Interesting. So it was a studio called 5,000 Feet. Interesting name. And it was to be published by Encore Incorporation, which I don't think they're around anymore. Neither of those teams are around. For the PS2, Xbox, and PC.
I think it was like going to be promoted. It's like, oh, here's the Daredevil movie, and here's also a Daredevil game, but I'm not sure if they were going to be connected or not. But I like listen. If anybody needs like a creative, someone to reference, like a creative director or something, I have read every issue of Daredevil. I have read most. No, on Marvel Unlimited, there's every comic that Daredevil has appeared in. I have read.
You'll love this.
I expect at least 10 options in my DMs within an hour.
I expect options. I've read a lot. I've read all of Peter's stories. I'm still catching up on Miles, but I have read hundreds of issues of Spider-Man and of Daredevil. If you want anybody to talk to about this, like, my DMs are open.
Also, if you're just trying to slide casually, you know what I'm saying? If you're trying to slide casually,
I'm not sliding casually. When the baseball player be coming home and he runs over to catcher, that's me. I'm running over to catcher straight into ArachKnight's DMs.
Oh man. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll call it an inaugural episode there. Episode 1, Road to Miles Morales. ArachKnight, where can people find you?
I am on the PlayStation Source Discord under the same name, where you can listen to Christian and I, shout out JoyClicks, talk about superheroes. I am on Twitter at Orly_Macias, where I also talk about superheroes. And I am on Twitch. Still figuring all that out. I know I say it every week. You know the drill. I'm figuring it out.
All those links down below in the description, and specifically that Twitter, if you want to slide in them DMs, you know what I'm saying? It's right there. It's right there down below. You know what I'm saying? And to Real Deathly, where can the people find you if you want to be found?
You can find me in that Discord as well, PlayStation Source Discord. However, I'm not as active as I'd like to be in the chat, so if you want to talk to me, just go ahead and slide in my Discord DMs. Or you can slide in my Twitter DMs, twitter.com/TorrellDeathly. That's T, not the. Don't put an H in there, you're weird. But yeah, I mostly tweet about just random stuff, video games, Marvel content. I'm always rewatching some sort of series or some movie, so I'm always talking about it. But yeah.
You hope to see it.
Once again, both of those links are down below in the description. And this has been Road to Miles Morales, the weekly podcast series about any and all things Spider-Man Miles Morales as we head towards the release of Spider-Man Miles Morales. You can catch the show here on youtube.com/PlayStationSource as well as your favorite podcast service every Saturday. It has Sunday on the dock. I need to change that. Every Saturday by hitting the anchor link down below to find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, and any other major podcast service, or by just searching PlayStation Source podcast feed. To support the show, you can of course like and subscribe, as well as become a member of the channel by hitting the join button or the link in the description. The Prince tier and the King tier are $1 and $5 respectively, that give you access to different channel badges, emotes, as well as shoutouts on all PSS content, just like the homies Caleb Kaiser, Bashful Brody, ArachKnight, and Owen who hates Ghost of Tsushima. Follow us on other platforms such as Discord and Twitter down below in the description as well. And we'll be back next week, next Saturday, 10 a.m. Every Saturday, 10 a.m. up until the release and shortly after the game is done and beaten by all the hosts. Good show, ladies and gentlemen. Well, not ladies. Good show, gentlemen. Thank God for watching. And as always, oh wait, shoot. Okay, to real. You've heard my outro, right?
I have, of course.
Have you ever heard the outro? Okay, so when we say greatness awaits, everyone says greatness awaits.
Okay.
Thank God, thank God for watching, and as always, and then we all say in unison, greatness.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. Right. Thank God for watching, and as always,
Greatness awaits.
greatness awaits. There we go.
Hasta luego.
Fire. See y'all later.
See ya.